Welcome back to State and Local. I'm Anne Marie Battistone, and this is, of course, Norfolk Public Access. I'm very pleased today to have another candidate in the November 4th elections, and this would be Peter Collins, an attorney from Quincy, who is the incumbent at the Norfolk County Commissioner's office. And so he's going to talk about his campaign, and I'm going to ask him some questions about the commission, and we should have an interesting talk here. Oh, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you making the effort to get. I'm sure you're busy. You're an attorney.
Correct.
What sort of law do you practice?
I specialize in workers' compensation.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We were just talking a little bit earlier about these poor women that have gotten Ebola at these hospitals and what their recourse is. And you were saying that you think they'd be limited to workman's comp, or the family, or the source of the.
One of their recourses is workers' comp, and that would be to file a claim for workers' compensation benefits against the workers' compensation insurer for the place where they work.
Yeah.
But they could also sue other entities, but those would be civil suits and not workers' compensation suits.
Oh my goodness. Now, before we start, let's talk a little bit about your campaign. Now, you have how's that been going, and what's involved in your campaign? And I want to be sure you'd let us know if there's any events coming up.
It's going great. I have hundreds of signs all over Norfolk County. Been working on that. Hopefully, people have seen them. I have an event coming up on October 30th, and I picked that day. That's my parents' wedding anniversary, so I picked that day special. That's coming up on October 30th.
Where will that be?
That's in Quincy at the Common Market.
Oh, yes. Oh, that'll be nice. That'll be quite nice.
It'll be fun.
And anything else in the works? Of course, we're pretty much at the end of the campaign season, aren't we?
Yeah, we're pretty far along.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of events. I know that next Wednesday is the debate for the county commissioner. It's going to be at the League of Women Voters in Norwood. And every election cycle, the League of Women Voters in Norwood has the debate. So that's coming right up.
Oh, I didn't know that. And what date is that?
It's next Wednesday. I'm not sure
next
of
Wednesday
the date.
Is
that the 22nd?
I don't know myself what it is.
I know it's next Wednesday.
The 18th. Today's the 14th. No, today's the 15th.
22nd.
I think you're right. I think it might be the 22nd. We'll have to go with that. Oh, so now where is that going to be? Where is that located, the League of Women Voters?
It's right at Norwood Town Hall.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even know. So it'll be you and Mr. Soder.
Correct.
Just the two of you there, because the other two haven't come up for their re-elections.
Correct. There's only one position open in the Norfolk County Commissioner race. Yes.
Oh, all right. Okay. Now, those three commissioners, I know the seat is in Dedham for the county.
Correct.
So, but the three of you all live in the eastern part of the county. Do you do any outreach to the western part of the county out this way?
We're out here all the time. We're everywhere throughout the county. Norfolk County is big. It runs from Brookline
28 towns.
Yeah, Brookline to Bellingham to Cohasset. It's really a big area, and we are in all the cities and towns all the time.
So do you have office hours, or how does that work?
We've had office hours at the different town halls in the past. I know Bill O'Donnell, our Register of Deeds, he has office hours all the time. You probably run into his name all the time.
I've never have. I've never.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't even know before I had done the the interview with Mike Soder. I didn't even really know about these county governments and what they do, so I really didn't know much about them. So two counties have closed. Is that right? Two county commissioners' offices. Didn't Worcester close and Middlesex?
It's bigger than that. Back in the...
It really doesn't concern you, but
Well, it kind of does. Back in the early 90s, some of the counties weren't operating efficiently. They were in the red, and the legislature decided that some of the counties really needed to be done away with. They were poorly managed.
Was that Middlesex, or was that
Middlesex
yeah.
and Worcester and all the counties heading out west. There are 6 counties right now. There's Norfolk, Plymouth, Bristol, Dukes, Nantucket, and Barnstable. And we've always been extremely well-run counties. We've provided great service to our cities and towns, great regional service, and the legislature, realizing the good work that we did, kept us. But some of the other counties that weren't doing quite so well, they were done away with.
So didn't they vote in Worcester to close it, to do away with it? Wasn't that a referendum in Worcester?
Not in the cities and towns, no. And in fact, for years after those counties closed, and all the counties that went down, for years after that, the individual cities and towns within the county, they continued to pay their county tax, even though they didn't have a county anymore. They lost the regional
And where did
representation.
that money go?
It went right into the state because the state had assumed all the assets and they assumed the debts, and so the money just went to the state.
And so what happened? I mean, so then did they sort of lose control of it at that point?
County government's regional government. It's bigger than your cities and towns, and it handles activities that need to be performed regionally. I'm just going to kind of spin off on this a little bit.
No, go right ahead. Yes.
The county owns and operates all the courthouses
Right.
within Norfolk County.
Yeah.
So you have Rentham, Stoughton, Brookline, Quincy, Dedham. Those are the district courts. You have the Superior Court in Dedham. You have the Registry of Deeds building in Dedham. You have the Administration building in Dedham. We have the President's Golf Course, which is located in both Quincy and Milton.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the jewel of Norfolk County, the Aggie School in Walpole. And the county oversees, those are just the properties that we own, but we oversee the management of all those different facilities.
But the salaries for those people come from the state. You just sort of oversee how they're paid, or I mean, in other words,
The salaries for the individuals working in the courthouse
Yes,
comes
yes.
from the state.
Right.
But we own and operate the buildings.
Okay.
And all the salaries for the Aggie School, all the salaries at the golf course, all the salaries at the Registry of Deeds,
Come
they all
through you.
they all come through the county.
Oh, all right, I see. Now, you mentioned Brookline. In 2011, didn't they want to secede from the county, that they felt they weren't getting enough services for what, because they had wasn't it almost $750,000 they were paying?
Right now it's up to about $800,000. Yes.
They stayed.
And they're still in Norfolk County. And we've been working tirelessly with the town of Brookline. And we have put forth legislation on behalf of Brookline, our town, working with Frank Smizik, who's a rep over there. And
He's a state rep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And many of the individuals within Brookline, we've been working with them to put forward legislation to change the way that the county tax structure happens. What happens is the state decides the county tax rate, and,
Right.
and it's based almost entirely on property value.
Oh, okay.
And the property value in the town of Brookline
Very
is really
high,
high.
very high.
And so Brookline is paying the highest share of the
Right.
county tax as a
Right.
result. And they wanted some relief. And it's not the first time that they've received relief through the efforts of the county. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, we were able to secure that. We actually cut the county tax in half
For them.
for everyone.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
we
now,
were-
when was this now?
Late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, okay.
But since then, it ticks up, 2.5%, 2.5%, it ticks up. And so eventually they're at a very high level once again. And so we're actively working with Brookline and with all of our communities and the other counties seeking reform on the county tax base.
So there wouldn't be any. So that would be your leverage, how you calculate it, rather than what kind of services they get.
We provide good services to Brookline. We provide great services to all the cities and towns in Norfolk County. They're not saying they're not getting good services. They're saying that they want more bang for their buck. But they do get the same services that other people get. They have the Registry of Deeds, they have the Aggie School, although they're far away from the Aggie School, so they send less kids there. And they do have their own standalone courthouse in Brookline.
Mm-hmm. I know, right.
They have their own courthouse for themselves, for their town.
Right. Right.
So they do have value, but they want more value for their tax dollar.
And what does it do? What do they want? I mean, they've ever said what they
They want to pay less taxes.
but that's it. I mean, they're not saying, gee, if you did this or you did that or something would change.
No, it's
we
less
would say-
taxes.
Okay. So they probably don't attend the Aggie School. I mean, I think it isn't just a question of distance. I would imagine just culturally you wouldn't have, I mean, I would imagine, there are people of moderate means in Brookline, but I would imagine for the most part they're sending kids to either to their high school or to private high schools. And I would imagine sort of culturally they would be expecting their kids to be going to an academic high school and then college, and not more of a professional situation than.
There have been kids that have gone to the Aggie School from Brookline, But yes, you're right, there aren't that many kids that go. And part of it is a distance. I mean, for a child
Well, that's true.
Just to travel the county can take you an hour plus.
That's true.
With no traffic.
And they would have to provide their own transportation, of course.
Incorrect. We would
Oh.
provide transportation.
Oh, okay. So you would send a van. Is there a van service that goes around, or how? Or does it depend on the students, and then you arrange for their transportation, or?
We arrange for the transportation. There are different bus routes that we work out. So every student within the county has a bus to school.
And they don't have to pay for that.
Correct.
Oh, very good. All right. Now, I went on the website and I noticed that the minutes of the meetings aren't there.
On the website.
Right. Okay. And so I emailed the website, and I can't remember his name, but he did email me back, and he said the minutes, how come the minutes aren't available online?
Well, they're a public record, so they are available. I don't know why they're not on the website.
I mean, wouldn't that be more convenient for people than to have to? Because then they'd have the dates of the meetings. You could just look right at them, and they'd be. It seems like it could be more transparent.
Well, it is transparent. It's just not on the web. But that's a really good point, and we should have it on the web.
And so, if people wanted to see them, would they have to pay for the copies, or would they have to call, or?
They could call, and we can just send them the minutes.
Because I know for like in town here, I think most of the towns, the Board of Selectmen's meetings, the minutes are all on the town website. Now let's see. Now you have you've been on. Let's see. What was it? Now tell me about the advisory board. Now, is that's nominated by the town?
Correct.
Did they make an effort to make that bipartisan? Do you know, or is it just whoever knows whomever? How is that? How's that done? Do you know anything about how the different towns do that, or do they make an effort to make it a bipartisan?
Each town appoints an advisory board member to the advisory board. And each town selects whoever they want as their representative. Sometimes it's a selectman, sometimes it's a town administrator or employee, and sometimes it's just a citizen that has interest in serving on the advisory board.
And what is their weight when they vote? Do they vote on expenditures, and what is their weight that they have?
Well,
I think I'm explaining that right there. I guess the weight. What's the weight of their vote in terms of when they do vote on? Do they vote on expenditures, or do they?
Yeah,
what is their input?
Every year, the county puts forward a budget that's voted on in June for the upcoming year, and the advisory board is our checks and balances. So the advisory board has a finance committee. They decide amongst themselves who will be on the finance committee. And those individuals oversee our budget. They make some recommendations. We might make some changes to the budget. We submit the budget to the entire advisory board as a whole, and they vote on it. And then throughout the year, if we have to move items from one line item to another, we'll do that. And we'll ask for the vote, and if they feel it's appropriate, they'll allow it.
But how much input does that have?
They oversee it all. Every financial decision that we have to make runs through the advisory board. So they have a huge check and balance on the county commissioners and how things are run in the county.
Are they ever in disagreement with the board?
Sometimes they have a great deal of input, and a lot of these individuals are well schooled in government. They really are, and many of them have great educations and backgrounds in business, and they provide a wealth of knowledge to us and great experience and great advice, and we work them in concert to provide a budget that works for the county and to meet all the service needs that we have of the county.
Because there's 28 people. It seems like it'd be a pretty big board then, wouldn't it? It's one person from each town. So it'd be 28 people on that. All right, tell me something. What is the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program?
Oh, that's a great program. It really is. It's a federally funded program, so the money doesn't come out of the county, and it matches up retired seniors that want to give their expertise and volunteer their expertise to the local community. So we find the individuals that want to volunteer, we find the needs within the community, we match them up and we oversee it, we make sure it runs properly. But we have hundreds of seniors volunteering every single year, providing thousands and thousands of hours towards their local cities and towns. And it's an incredible win-win for the seniors who want to provide their expertise and the towns that desperately need the services without having to pay for it.
Because I know there's something else where, but I think you have to be, I mean, you have to qualify for it. I think there's something in the towns where your tax can be reduced a little bit if you're helping out in the town. But that's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
Now, what's the outreach on that? How do people know about this? Because I just saw RSVP. I said, well, gee, what's that?
We have an RSVP director, and that individual has staff. And they're always going out into the communities. They're working with everyone. It's nonstop. It's probably a 50-hour-a-week job that these individuals go out, and they're always meeting with seniors to try to enroll them in the program.
So they might go to the senior centers?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
They go everywhere.
All right. Oh, okay. You know, now you've been on the board for 19 years.
Almost 20.
And, you know, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, including myself, I think a lot of people have been very, very disgusted with all of this corruption that's gone on throughout the state and an anti-incumbent, you know, feeling. So, and actually, one of the other commissioners has been on for 21 years.
John Gillis.
So, has there not been any challengers, or have you won? Well, speaking for yourself, have you won one election after the other, or how have you managed to stay in for so long?
Sure, there's an election every time, and I've won several. This is actually my 6th time going forward. The first time I ran, I didn't win.
Have you ever been not been opposed?
Yeah, once or twice.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is my 6th election.
Uh-huh.
This is I won 5.
Right.
Now I'm going for 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you feel? Do you feel that maybe you still are having been in for so long that you can still, you know, contribute the way you might have when you first started, and you maybe had newer ideas about what was going on? I mean, do you feel there's an issue with people being in there that long?
No.
You know?
No, I really don't. It depends on the job, and some people burn out in their jobs. I love my job, and the other 2 county commissioners, John Gillis from Quincy and Fran O'Brien from Dedham, we love this job, and we're very passionate about it. It's a lot of fun. It's really exciting. We provide great services to our cities and towns. The county employees are excellent. They do incredible work, and the county officials are right there. We work really hard. We're doing a good job, and we have no fanfare about it. We just want to get to work. We just do the job, and there are no scandals in county government. We do a great, great job.
Now, somebody else in your family was a commissioner as well, going back?
Yeah, my dad.
Your dad was also wow. Let's see. Now, do you so to people that might say that the board is too, I mean, not just you, but that that the board's been too ensconced, as you know, having these long terms that you've.
Well,
in other words, your answer just to say that
it's a 4-year term. Anyone can run, and if someone is better qualified and the voters want to vote them in, that's what this process is all about. I've been fortunate. I mean, I've had the honor and the privilege and the good fortune of having been elected to this board 5 times already, and I'm asking once again for that vote.
Now, do you want to tell us something about what you feel you've accomplished in this time, that you felt maybe broke some ground, or you did?
When I first ran 20 years ago, my pledge to all my constituents was that I would run the county like a business. I'm an attorney. I have my own practice. I know the value of every single dollar. So every single dollar that comes into the county and every single dollar that goes out of the county has value. And my pledge to all the individuals who I was asking for their vote was that I would run the county like a business. And for the past 20 years, every single one of those years, in good times and in bad times, we've always been within budget and within our reserves. We've never gone past. And my pledge continues to be we will run the county like a business while we continue to expand our regional services.
So now, that's not on the website either, though. Your sheet, I don't know what they call it, with the money coming in and out and the expenditures. That's not on your website either?
It may not be on the website, but it's a public document. It's available to anyone to see. And the advisory board sees it every meeting.
Oh, okay.
Every single
Oh,
meeting,
I see.
they're on
All
top
right.
of it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that vote on our budget. They know exactly how much money we have to start, how much we've used, how much we have at the end. The advisory board votes on all the expenditures that we make.
Now, what would you say is the biggest where the biggest chunk of money goes?
The school.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah.
right?
A lot goes to the school. A lot goes to the registry, and those
That's the Registry of Deeds.
the registry of deeds, and much of our money comes from the transactions that take place at the registry.
Mm-hmm.
The county tax is part of our money, but our budget's about $26 million, and the county tax is nowhere near that. Most of the money comes from the registry.
Oh, is that right?
Every transaction that takes place at
But
the
beyond what these towns are paying.
absolutely, right. We could never afford to do it on the county tax alone.
I see. Okay.
But every transaction at the registry costs about $80 on average, and the county gets $10 of the 80. 70 goes to the state. So we run the county mainly on the funds that come from each transaction at the registry. So when I say good times and bad times, the county tax is always the same. But if the housing market
Right.
falls down, or if the
Exactly.
refinancing stops, like it has stopped recently,
Right.
everyone has a low rate, no one's refinancing, then the money that goes into the county is less, and we have to deal with that.
And what is the actual rate of what, say, is the same rate for every town, I assume, based on their, how, can you just,
The county tax,
to know what that is?
the county tax averages out to about $8 a person within the county. One $8 hit per year, about the cost of a Big Mac meal at McDonald's. But that's what the county tax averages out to be. But you have the cities and towns. You have Brookline.
Yeah.
They're paying more. They're paying more than Bellingham. In fact, you look at Bellingham, you look at Rentham, and the value of the education for each of the students they send to the Aggie is about $18,000.
Wow.
And so you send enough students to the Aggie, you've gone.
That's
You've
right.
already made your county
That's
tax,
right.
if not more.
That's right. That's true. That's very true. Huh. Let me see. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about? I think we had covered a few.
We have a lot.
Yes, go ahead. Go
brought
right
my,
ahead.
I
Oh,
brought
yeah,
my
sure.
notes so I
We
wouldn't
have some
forget.
time. Sure.
We've done many different regional initiatives, many of them. Recently, we just passed legislation that corrected an inadequacy when the county sheriff's departments went to the state. And
Now, what does that mean when the county?
what happened was the states were helping to fund the sheriff's departments. It costs a lot to put an individual behind bars for a year, a real lot of money. And, whoops, 5 minutes. And the county couldn't afford that, so the state was supplementing that. And after a while, the state said, you know, we think we want to take over the sheriff's departments. And they already owned the land on 128 where the jail was. And so when they took it over, they left us with the pension responsibilities, but they took the assets. And so we were still paying out on pension, but we didn't have the employees anymore. And we had to.
Oh, so you were running the pensions for the. Is that right?
We had to run the pension. We had to
Oh, my
pay their
word.
pension. So that was sucking out a lot of our free money. And so we went to our legislators, and we were just successful in having a unanimous vote through the House and the Senate, signed by the governor, to remedy that bad situation. So this is an incredible time for the county, because where we were faced with a tough economic plight because of this legislation, we were able to reverse that, and now we're in good financial stead for years to come.
Now, how recently was this done?
It was just done. It was just done in the last legislative session.
Oh.
And let's see, a few more things. I'll jump into a
Please,
few
yes,
more
go
things
right
because I
ahead.
know we had 5 minutes.
Well, go right ahead.
We have a double A bond rating in the county. That's an
Oh.
incredible rating for a municipality.
That's higher than the state, isn't it?
It's pretty high. It's pretty high. At the agricultural high school, we just put $30 million into renovating them. New buildings, renovating the classrooms. That's a big deal. We're looking into a regional animal shelter right now for the cities and towns. A lot of cities and towns, they might not have an animal shelter,
Or just a small little.
or it might be
And where
antiquated.
might that be? That's interesting.
They're still looking for a property. Right now, 12 towns are very interested. 8 have talked about putting up money. We're trying to get the last 4
Is
towns to put up
Norfolk
money.
involved in that?
They've been asked to participate. Yeah, they've been asked.
Well, I hope they do.
We have the county engineering department. We do traffic surveys. We
Oh, yes.
do engineering
you,
for
you work with the DOT. or I mean not the DOT, the highway, the state highway department.
That's different.
Oh.
That's different. The county has their own engineering department. There are hundreds of miles of county roads
Right.
throughout the county. Those are all laid out by the county
I
engineering
see.
department.
Okay.
We do traffic counts. We have a veterans agent at the county level, and they oversee, assist, and back up the veterans agents from each of the cities and towns. We were involved with the regional fire dispatch so that cities and towns would have regional access to a quick dispatch of their fire equipment.
Now I'm just curious about that. On the engineering department, now do
Yep.
you get any? Would you be getting any of the money from like this the tax, the gas tax?
No.
Where would that come from? That again would come from the payments from the taxes.
The money for the engineering department comes through the county tax and the money that's generated at the registry of deeds.
Oh, okay, it's the same. Okay, the same sources. Oh.
It's all the same source. We have a purchasing agent at the county, and we provide regional purchasing power for cities and towns that want to buy a certain item. So we save a lot of the cities and towns money that way.
Oh.
Let's see. The President's Golf Course brings in about $100,000 a year profit every year.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's after paying for all the employees, paying for the upkeep of the facility, pouring money into the facility so it's always up to date.
And that hasn't flagged with the economy, or people are still. But it's an inexpensive. Isn't that the purpose? That it's an inexpensive open golf course. It's not
right.
private.
It's not private. It's a municipal golf course. It provides a great value.
You may be getting more people than maybe people that.
Yeah, they can't afford the
they
big
could-
ones, right? But it's a great value. We have hundreds of charitable tournaments that go there. We give them a charitable rate. I mean, it's a public facility, and we want to encourage those types of tournaments. And it's won accolades over the years, lots of awards. And it was purchased. This is a good one. It was purchased using a federal grant, and the only stipulation was if we were to sell it, the profit goes to the federal government. And we would have to provide similar land to the federal government because it was intended to be open space. And so we run it as any business we would run, and we run it for a profit, and we make $100,000 a year.
Oh, wonderful. That's all good to know, because I think a lot of people don't know about all those things. So it's good to know. But we've got to stop because we're running out of time. But thank you so much, friend. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we'll see what happens on November 4th. And thank you for watching State and Local. My guest was Peter Collins. He's the incumbent wishing to stay in office at the Norfolk County Commissioners Board. So that will be November 4th. Please be sure to vote. And thank you for watching Norfolk Public Access.